Good evening, my friends. Has the writing on the wall ever been so clear? Faced with skyrocketing inflation, supply chain disruption, and the potential for World War III, preparing for food shortages would be the smart thing to do. Texas Congressman Chip Roy is trying his best to warn America that Title 42 must not be allowed to end. Author, director, and researcher Christopher Rufo has discovered similarities between critical race theory and prison culture. Okay, my friends, let's take a closer look together. Welcome to Veracity. I'm your host, Michael Lewis. Before we begin, I have to thank today's sponsor. Our sponsor for today's episode is you. And I have to say thank you to everyone who has taken their hard-earned money and contributed to the success of the show. Thank you very much. And if you want to become a member and help contribute to the show, then click the link in the description and become a member and help me on my mission to deliver truthful news. There is a food shortage, coupons for food, public demonstrations, and rising food prices. According to Mike Adams, a Texas-based nutrition expert and broadcaster of the Health Ranger podcast, this is coming soon to America, and it forecasts disastrous events in the coming days. His recommendation is also that people need to start planning. Adams said the thing to really watch for is food inflation. Adams said that he thinks we are going to see food riots in America before the end of the year, and there will be flash mobs in grocery stores, especially for meat products. Now, according to Adams, 2 years ago, it cost $200 to fertilize a 1,000-acre commercial farm field in North America. But going forward, farmers should anticipate investing $1,200 to $2,000 per acre during this spring planting season. And people will have to pay more for bare essentials as a result. Adams said many farmers are deciding not to plant, in addition to diesel fuel prices and diesel fuel scarcity, are going into their equation whether they should plant. As a food scientist, Adams is a strong advocate for clean, organic, cultivated food, which he sells as Ranger buckets. Since the COVID-19 shutdown commenced in 2020, the need for his items have skyrocketed. He said that preparing 2,000 pails takes approximately 6 to 8 weeks on average, and they mostly sell out anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 hours. Competition for survivor food has already expanded among many national distributors before Russia invaded Ukraine. Lori Hunt at Practical Preppers in South Carolina said, "The supply chain in the United States continues to crumble. More Americans realize it takes 4 trips to different home improvement stores for parts to make home repairs instead of all their needs being in one store." Now, I found it disconcerting when President Biden announced on Thursday, March 24th, to expect real food shortages, but not follow it up with a comprehensive plan to address it. Here, take a look.
With regard to food shortage, yes, we did talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia. It's imposed upon an awful lot of countries as well, including European countries and our country as well. And because both Russia and Ukraine have been the breadbasket of Europe in terms of wheat, for example, just to give you one example. But we had a long discussion in the G7 with both the United States, which has a significant, the third largest producer of wheat in the world, as well as Canada, which is also a major producer. And we both talked about how we could increase and disseminate more rapidly food shortages. In addition to that, we talked about urging all the European countries and everyone else to end trade restrictions on sending limitations on sending food abroad. And so we are in the process of working out with our European friends what it would take to help alleviate the concerns relative to food shortages.
The reality is we must be prepared for it to get worse. It would be smart to fill up your pantry with non-perishable goods and purchase a good water filtration system. I personally use the Royal Berkey water filtration system. Just take an hour and do some research and educate yourself on how exactly to prepare you and your family in case of an emergency. Also, if anyone has any advice about being prepared for emergencies, please share in the comments so we can all have a discussion together. Let's take advantage of the community we have here to help one another. It looks like supply chain disruptions will be with us for some time to come, especially if the Ukraine-Russia war doesn't come to an end soon. If you strongly consider what's happening in the world, then preparing yourself and your family is a very rational thing to do. It is our country, and we are going to lose it unless we actually start making sure that people like Biden start defending ourselves. This soul-shaking statement was given by China analyst and famous author Gordon Chang at a recent event. The statement was made in connection with the Chinese Communist Party's unacceptable actions to destabilize or destroy the American government, its people, and anything that stands in its way. To be more specific, he said, China exploits every point of contact with us to overthrow our government. They are overwhelming us. Law enforcement is overwhelmed. Academia is overwhelmed. Everyone is overwhelmed. Born to a Chinese father and an American mother, Chang's statement might look fake or unacceptable to you initially, but if you look closer, his words are already spreading shockwaves in every corner of the country. To prove his point, he referred to the December 2020 report made by the Axios news website that revealed that a Chinese spy named Christine Feng managed to build strong contacts with the rising politicians in the San Francisco Bay Area. One of her main targets was Representative Eric Swalwell, with whom she managed to build strong contacts by crashing events where he was present. After being warned by FBI investigators, Swalwell decided to distance himself. However, being a member of the House Intelligence Committee, many Republicans raised serious alarms concerning the high possibility of classified information being leaked to the Chinese Communist Party. Chang was the one who warned U.S. authorities about Chinese students and professors in U.S. colleges and universities that are helping the CCP fulfill its evil mission in the country. To ensure Americans do not get affected by CCP influence, Chang suggested we can tell our brokers to sell Chinese stocks, we can raise this issue with our family and friends as a person-to-person battle. What we have to do is organize ourselves because we have to take back our country. Otherwise, we're going to lose it. Another author, Brandon Weichert, and other intelligent experts have raised serious concerns about the CCP secretly collaborating with other countries that are not in favor of building a relationship with America. After closely monitoring the effect of U.S. policies in Asia and European countries, it has now forced the CCP, Russia, and others to create a strong alliance against the United States. For example, the U.S.'s constant push towards ensuring a free and open Indo-Pacific region directly contradicts the CCP's aggressive Belt and Road Initiative in the same region. According to Weichert, Beijing and Russia are now convinced that America wants to do the same thing as what they did with Saddam Hussein. And so they are now looking for allies. Surprisingly, as we discuss this issue, Iran has already become a quasi-colony for Russia and the CCP. The experts also believe that behind the successful testing of hypersonic missiles by North Korea in 2021, the CCP and Russia were the main contributors. These factors throw sharp light on the words uttered by the famous English geographer Halford Mackinder, who is also known as the father of geopolitics during the 20th century. He warned the British Empire to ensure that no military rival or group should collaborate in the European region. Moreover, if this happens, it could result in danger for the British Empire. Halford pressed that the divided nature of the European countries would prevent a significant threat against Britain. However, a major threat could be coming our way with the rising alliance between America's rival countries. To ensure America remains prepared to handle any further threat, the experts are insisting that the U.S. should consider the CCP as its top priority instead of confronting Russia's policies. With strong links to the world system and being the second largest economy globally, the CCP will soon be on the road to becoming a superpower the likes no one has ever witnessed. According to Weichert, we should classify American tech companies under Foreign Corrupt Practices Act if they are found transferring credible technologies to Chinese companies. We can start building the next industrial revolution here rather than outsourcing it to China. And over the next decade, we might not only be able to preserve America's dominant role in the world, but we might actually be able to undermine Russia as well. After 63% of the American population expressed dissatisfaction with the decision-making power of President Joe Biden, it seems this dissatisfaction would only increase because the president has decided to eradicate Title 42 of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's rule by May 23rd. This law says it simply empowers the Customs and Borders Protection agents to stop illegal migrants at the border to ensure COVID cases remain controlled or do not increase in the country. However, since this law will no longer exist after May 23rd, it has already started receiving a huge backlash from Representative Chip Roy and other leaders for putting Texas in danger and the country's public health in complete jeopardy.
And every Republican should be agreeing to impeach Secretary Mayorkas on day one when we come into this body and we're in charge of the House of Representatives next January, after the absolute feckless destruction of this country by an incompetent, destructive Democratic majority in this body, an incompetent, destructive, and flat-out reckless administration refusing to enforce the laws of the United States. But that is what is happening. Everybody says, oh, you're going down, there he goes, ranting on the floor again about the border. Well, excuse me, but it's Texas. And Texas needs to be starting to take a little action to tell the rest of this country to shove it up its rear end, because Texas is taking it on the chin. Because the leadership of this country is forsaking Texas, hurting Texas, hurting my neighbors, hurting my community. And it's about time that it stops. And it's about time that Republicans on this side of the aisle stop giving lip service to border security, choose to actually do their job and not fund the government that is refusing to enforce the law.
Also, according to Roy, you have empowered criminal drug cartels, impaired the health of Americans, damaged America's economic health, allowed illegal migrants to destroy private property, and placed American citizens at imminent risk of physical harm. Although the Democrats have claimed that Title 42 is inhumane and puts illegal immigrants, especially children, at greater risk, nevertheless, according to the Department of Homeland Security, the Border Patrol is currently witnessing 7,100 illegal immigrants per day. Moreover, if Title 42 gets quashed, it could increase illegal immigrants to 18,000 per day. According to Representative Bill Hagerty, President Trump, during his period, openly directed Chinese leader Xi Jinping to stop sending the fentanyl directly to the United States. However, no direction was given concerning neighboring countries like Mexico. Astonishing, it is only through these illegal immigrants that fentanyl is managing to get into the hands of the American youth. Also, as the number of illegal immigrants could double after May 23rd, this will also increase the chance of these illegal drugs being distributed in the country and killing innocent people, contributing more to the current 100,000 overdose deaths a year. The Center for Disease Control also stated, after considering current public health conditions and increased availability of tools to fight COVID-19, the CDC director is now in favor of quashing Title 42. Surprisingly, this statement has arrived when there are many new COVID variant cases in the United Kingdom, Germany, Finland, Switzerland, and Asian countries. And recently, Shanghai imposed one of the country's biggest lockdowns in the last 2 years. All these factors have now forced Arizona Democrats Kyrsten Sinema and Mark Kelly to issue a stark warning stating, given the impacts that changes to Title 42 could have on the border communities, border security, and migrants, we urge the administration not to make any changes to this law until you are completely prepared to execute a plan that ensures a secure, orderly, and humane process at the border. While in New York City, COVID-19 restrictions have ended, a specific age group is still trying to find a way out. The group is the 2 to 4-year-olds. On Friday, Mayor Eric Adams and Health Commissioner Ashwin Vasan declared that children between the ages of 2 to 4 should wear a mask during daycare and preschool. The announcement arrived when State Supreme Court Justice Ralph Porzio quashed the mayor's order by stating it as arbitrary and unreasonable. However, the mayor took no time in filing an appeal against the judge, which later directed a stay on Porzio's order and favored the mayor. Adams said on Twitter, "Every decision we make is with our children's health and safety in mind. Children between 2 and 4 should continue to wear their masks in school and daycare come Monday." The mayor is now facing a heavy response from the city. After entering the office a few months ago, many are now doubting the mayor's administration qualities from school staff to parents. According to Health Commissioner Ashwin Vasan, after noticing a rise in the number of hospitalization cases in the past in this age group, we want to ensure our youngest New Yorkers remain safe. When asked how long it would last, he said, "Wait a little longer before making masks optional for this age group." While working on a project, author, director, and researcher Christopher Rofu discovered that gangs in prison foster segregation and discrimination similar to critical race theory, or CRT, in society. Even though prison gangs and the development of CRT are distinct and unique, Rofu concluded that by making comparisons and judging gang crime in California correctional facilities, he might make an assumption about where CRT would bring humanity. Rofu said a lot of the prison gangs emerged with a black nationalist or Marxist-Leninist ideology in California. They were tightly interconnected with the revolutionary movements of the late 60s and early 1970s. He went on to say that those very same revolutionary movements, from the Black Panther Party to Aldridge Cleaver, a Black Panther Party activist, to Angela Davis, were really the main inspiration for critical race theory. When offenders enter the California prison system, they must commit to supporting one of several prison communities: blacks, whites, Latinos, and those who are a combination of nationalities, according to Rufo. Rufo said, "And you're really chosen by these groups, and you have to submit to the racial politics of the prison. Prison life, like life on the outside, is survival of the fittest." And that's it for today, my friends. Don't forget to like and share, and most importantly, join our members' site and support the mission to deliver truthful information. I rather depend on the generosity of you, people I can trust, than ever be dependent on YouTube again. Thank you all for spending time with me, and I'll see you next time.